Thank you, Madam Chair. I thank the gentlelady for yielding. Madam Chair, I have to tell you, I've spent 40 years in law enforcement and 12 as a sheriff, as you know, and I have to tell you, I've never in my life have I seen law enforcement more under attack in America today than I have for the last 2.5 years. Never. And I know the dangers that they face out there every day. I've been there. I've done that. And I have to tell you, the attempts by those across the aisle to delegitimize, to demoralize, and to defund our state and local law enforcement is atrocious and unforgivable. And I hope that come November, the American public will hold some of these folks accountable that you just heard read out. Now, I can tell you, I don't think they're popular at all with the American public. And yet, now, leading into the midterms, we're going to come together and we're going to throw 4 bills onto the floor to address law enforcement and show that we're supportive of law enforcement. I can tell you 3 of these bills are off that point. First of all, the Mental Health Justice Act, the Victim Act, and the Break the Silence of Violence Acts. These 3 bills, let's take them one at a time. The Mental Health Justice Act. This will actually make it more dangerous for law enforcement, make it more dangerous for our citizens. We're going to literally send mental health workers to respond to volatile situations where police officers who are armed go in and are killed oftentimes. Mental health calls are some of the most dangerous calls that we handle. And we want to send civilians in lieu of law enforcement? I don't think so.
Madam Speaker, I will yield to him as much time as he will use.
Thank you.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank the gentlelady for yielding. So, the idea that we're going to send civilians to do a law enforcement officer's job in quelling a dangerous, volatile situation is bad business. The Victims Act does nothing. There's nothing new in the Victims Act. All it does is add to the programs that already exist in DOJ. Not one single new idea in the Victim Act. The Break the Silence Act of Violence. Now, first of all, it comes with a very hefty price tag, $6.5 billion. But all that money goes to public health government bureaucrats, not law enforcement. Listen, our job in Congress is to provide effective assistance to our law enforcement men and women. These 3 acts do not do that. They simply do not achieve that goal. I am glad, however, that my colleagues have finally decided that defunding the police is not a good idea, but I wish they would look at the appropriation bills where they are basically federally defunding law enforcement because they're putting all of these strings attached to all of our DOJ grants that go to small and medium and large size agencies. They're never going to be able to meet those standards. Never going to be able to meet all of those standards. So basically, we just federally defunded state and local law enforcement if that passes. I hope to God it doesn't. But instead of these misguided policies, let's work together on some solutions. Help us hire and retain some of the best and brightest officers that we have. And with that, Madam Chair, I urge a no vote on all 3 of these bills. The Mental Health Justice Act, the Victim Act, and the Break the Cycle of Violence Act. These will do nothing but endanger our law enforcement men and women. And I yield back.